This lady did brujeria on her man so that he could stay with her, and it kind of backfired. So this girl's telling us this story. She basically said that she had been with her man for a while, and she started noticing that he had become more distant, that he talked to her less, and she felt like he would have left her if it wasn't for the fact that she was pregnant. She said that she knew that he just didn't love her anymore, and that he would probably never tell her or leave her because, you know, they were about to have a baby together, and for her, that felt like even worse than him leaving her, staying and knowing that he didn't love her. So in return, she started treating him the same way. She said that she would be so rude to him, and she knew she was being rude, and she knew that that wasn't gonna resolve anything, and that every time she would treat him like shit, he would do nothing about it. He would actually tell her that he doesn't want to argue with her because he doesn't want the baby in her belly to hear. So basically, he was putting up with everything that she was doing to him until one night. He finally talked back to her. She said that that night she called him a coward for not telling her how he felt, for not telling her that he didn't love her anymore. And she knows that she pushed him to his limit. He basically told her everything she already knew, that he didn't love her, that he was sorry, but that she shouldn't need to worry because he was gonna stay there and take care of her and the baby. And basically she snapped. She started cursing him out, telling him things that she had never told him before, and basically it just got really bad. She said that in that moment she felt so much rage that she decided to finally follow her friend's guidance and do something that she's telling us to never do. Like, never listen to your friend if she suggests this. She said that she had a friend who she had known since they were in elementary school. She's not gonna give us the name. But she said that at that time, her friend was very much into brujeria or witchcraft. She said that her friend was still learning, and when she heard about what was happening with her and her man, she said that she could help her. Her friend told her that she can bring all the love back, the love that they had from the beginning, and that she can make it happen, but that she had to do something for her. She said that they had to ask the dead being that her friend was working with for this favor in order for this to work. She then proceeds to tell Uriel, the person that does the podcast, the step-by-step ritual they had to do to ask this favor, and told them it was up to him if he wanted to share it to his audience or not, but she was only sharing that because she wanted him to know that this shit is real. Obviously, he did not share that with us, thankfully, because I probably wouldn't have shared it with you either. So she said that they followed the ritual step by step, and as a matter of fact, her, pregnant and all, went to the cemetery, and basically the guy that works at the cemetery knows that people go there to do things and lets them in. So middle of the night, her and her pregnant belly with her friend go to the cemetery and do this ritual. She tells us that what she witnessed that night was probably the scariest thing she's ever witnessed in her life, but she was that desperate that she was gonna do anything she needed to do. She said that after that, her husband started hanging out with her a lot, talking to her, being that same lovey person that he was. And as a matter of fact, he would almost call into work half the time just because he wanted to spend so much time with her. She finally had the baby, and she said that she was so happy because the baby was healthy, there was no issues, but she also noticed that her husband was turning into something different. She says that now he's always quiet. He doesn't talk to his family. He doesn't talk to his friends. He sits there quietly, almost like if he isn't there anymore. She said that a couple of times in the middle of the night, she wakes up because she hears his voice. She says that she wakes up and it almost feels like he's talking to someone, but when she wakes up, he stops. But then there was a time where she woke up and she was pretending to be asleep. She slowly opened her eyes and she could see how he was sitting on the edge of the bed, talking to somebody in the corner of the room. That alone, I would have been terrified. So obviously after, waking up, hearing him talking to someone, she goes back to her friend, and her friend confesses to her that this is the first time that she had ever tried something like this. She says that her friend did something wrong, and that ritual wasn't even the first thing that she had done wrong. Her friend admitted to her that every dead being that they had asked for this favor had started to showing up at her friend's house, except for one. I think we know where this is going. She basically admits to her friend that the one being that's not showing up is because it is at her house, because now he is the quote-unquote owner of her man. She admits that every day that goes by, she can notice a little bit more and more of this being, and a lot more of her man just like not being him again. Basically, her friend who suggested this can do nothing about it. So at this point, she's stuck with someone who has an attachment because of what she did. And at this point, she said that she has been praying to God to like help him, even if that means that he has to leave her because he doesn't love her anymore. However, nothing has worked since. So she's telling us that she had left the room to write the story to submit to Uriel, and as she's writing us this story, she can hear him in the other room talking, except for this time she's finally starting to hear something talking back to him. And that's the ending. There's no ending, basically. I mean, I think a lesson learned, like, ironic that now she wishes he would come back just to leave her when she could have done that in the beginning. I don't know. I would be so scared to mess with witchcraft. I know there's things that are like positive and, you know, but there has to also be negative things. I would never do that just because you never know what might come.
This comment talking about was couples therapy never an option. That's what I'm just trying to figure out. Like, why didn't you think go to therapy before you start doing this? Now you got some real, whatchamacallit. Y'all remember that movie Insidious Chapter 2? It was basically this man that been haunting this woman's husband his entire life ever since he was a baby. When he would astral project, the being that was haunting him, it jumped into his body and he was stuck and the husband was stuck on the other side. And the wife started to notice changes and started to see like, this ain't my husband. He's starting to act different. He's starting to act weird. This is some real insidious type stuff. You know what? Let's just move on, y'all.
Okay, you think that this is a game. Now, this is where I just made a brand new pot of coffee from. I always make a mess. So, she was a little embarrassed. I don't see a problem with it. You see, as a man that once...
You don't see a problem with it. You don't see a problem. He gone. He gone. He gone.
Once joined a whole religion just to be with the girl. You think this is going to bother me? This doesn't bother any real man. Let's be honest. As a matter of fact, we see it and it's enticing. It's like, you know what? A little crazy is good. I did ask her what is required, what is necessary in order for this to work in her mind. And you just have to get ones, right, that you did use and that you just so happened to use on a day that you raced, if that makes sense. So a day that you raced, right, you put them back on and then you put them in the coffee. Presto change-o. There's no spells, there's no nothing that you have to do. All you have to do is have the intention, she says. As long as you have good intentions, it will work. You make all the coffee in the world. Stir that up.
We just gonna move on because he gone. He gone. She got another love story. Let's get into it.
Are you guys ready for another brujeria story? Because this one is crazy. And yes, it is yet again another love spell kind. And what I've learned from the last brujeria story that I did, apparently love spells will never work because you can never take someone's free will away. Didn't know that. Wow. Scary. Let's carry on. Why did I just turn into the Grinch? So this story is from Patricia, and she starts off by saying that I regret every single thing I did. She starts off by telling us that ever since she was little, her life has been hard, and it's because she's always been bullied or ridiculed by the way she looks physically, and that people have told her time and time again that she was ugly. She remembers how every Valentine's Day, all the girls would have their boyfriends or their secret admirers, and they would get gifts, and she would always be by herself without anybody showing her compassion or love. So at this point, years have passed, and she says that her story remains the same. Like, she's never had a boyfriend, she's never had a partner. She mentions that by this point she was very desperate and she was very broken because of this. She says that she gets a job at this place that manufactures cars, and that's where she makes friends with this girl named Yolanda. She says that a few months after starting her job there, this new guy comes along, and he was the most gorgeous looking guy ever, that every girl at that place was attracted to him, but she knew that she would never have the slightest of chances with him. So Yolanda would always see how Patricia would be staring at this guy like you could tell she was in love with him. So one day she asked her, hey, do you want me to take you to this brujo that I know and he could make an amarre so that he could fall in love with you? Patricia mentions how she never believed in like brujeria, witchcraft, but she was that desperate that she's like, well, let's try this out, and if it doesn't work, oh well. So both Patricia and Yolanda go to the brujo, and he says that he needs a couple of things to make this work. I'm not going to tell you everything that she took, but some of the things that she needed was hair from the guy and a picture of him. So she says she's brought everything that the brujo needed, and the amarre was done. She says that remarkably it actually worked, and she started dating this guy. She says that she was the happiest she could have ever been because after all the years of never having someone love her, like she was so in love, she was happy, and she felt that it was real. She said that something that the brujo never told her beforehand was that everything comes at a price, and unfortunately she was gonna have to pay that. She says that the brujo would ask her to sacrifice certain animals a couple of times. She said she didn't accept because she didn't feel right killing animals, and plus she already got what she wanted, which was the guy. So she thought it would be easy to just ignore the brujo and all his request of sacrificing animals. She says that a few months passed after she started ignoring the brujo when strange things started happening in her house. Gee, I wonder why. She said that at night when she was asleep, she would hear random noises, and during the day, random objects like a cup or a plate would just fly out of nowhere. She said that the relationship with the guy started to go downhill, and that it sucks for her to say this, but it was almost like he had woken up and finally saw her for who she really was. She also said that on a couple occasions he started telling her that he has no idea why he was even with her. She said that ultimately he breaks up with her, and at this point she was back to feeling depressed and alone, but she was more concerned about the paranormal things that were happening in her house. So she goes back to the brujo, and obviously he is pissed off at her. Angrily, the brujo told her that she didn't keep up her end of the deal, and the reason why she had to sacrifice the animals was to keep the entities that made this happen happy. This is gonna be really sad, but she says that she had to sacrifice a couple of animals. She had to do crazy rituals, and mentions how her life has never been the same after this. She says that even though she did what the brujo told her to do, which was sacrifice those animals, do the rituals for the entities, they will not stop following her because of how she did them wrong in the beginning. She says that now she's alone and having to pay the price, and she deeply regrets everything that she did to have that guy fall in love with her, and that she believes that she's gonna be alone for the rest of her life and paying back what she did for the rest of her life. And that is the ending. And if this is not a warning to like do this kind of stuff to someone or to make someone fall in love with you, like do not do it. If someone does not love you, please move on. There's so many more people out in the world, okay? Don't say I didn't warn you.
What do y'all think would have happened if she never would have did those sacrifices?
I have to confess a sin. It's been eating me up inside for almost 2 decades. So in middle school, I was obsessed with this boy. We'll call him Jake. And when I say obsessed, I mean obsessed. Like I stalked him in school, I stalked him outside of school. I used to print out pictures of him and post them in a journal and write poetry about him. Don't judge me, I was a preteen, and I'm also a Scorpio and Latina. Anyways, one day I'm snooping around my parents' house and I stumble across some literature. And by literature, I mean a sock. And there's a love spell in it. Now you see where this is going. So I'm frantically.
So you telling me you found a love spell in your house? Which one of your parents did a love spell on each other? Which one? One of them had to, because why do they have love spells in the house? Huh? What?
Looking to complete this spell. But I'm 12 and have no resources, so it takes me a month. I'm stealing shit from farmers markets. I'm stealing shit from Rite Aid. I'm stealing shit from my parents. I stole some shit from him. I'm not proud of it. It had to be done. And I'll never forget, the last step was burying it in the direction of their home. So I go to my front yard and I bury it, and I put like a little trinket on top so I can remember where it is. That's important for later. Anywho, shit fucking worked. He's obsessed with me, buying me flowers, writing me poetry. He even bought me like a 6-foot unicorn plushie and brought it to my house. We're in middle school. Like, how is that possible? Witchcraft. Anywho, it lasts like a couple months and then I get over it, obviously, and I go on with my life. He does not. Mind you, I'm also harboring this guilt. Like, I'm no monster. Just because I don't like him anymore doesn't mean I just discard him. So whatever, we're in high school now. I have a boyfriend, he has a girlfriend. His girlfriend fucking hated me and bullied the shit out of me, by the way. But I extended her grace because I knew it was because her man wanted me. And that's not her fault. That's not even his fault. Anyways, the bullying got to a point where I was like, this is too much. Like, she would write evil notes and like put them in my locker or put them on my music stand in marching band. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna dig this shit up and get rid of it. Right? Spell God. So I go to where it is and I find the little thing I put on top that's like embedded in the fucking earth now because it's been so long. I dig and I dig and I dig and I dig and I dig. I can't find it. I'm not going to tell you what exactly it was that I was looking for because I don't want any of you guys doing it. But it was metal, so it's not like it like deteriorated. But the shit like deteriorated or something because it wasn't there. I literally dug for a couple of days. Down, out, in, vegetable zone. Nothing I could do. So I go through high school getting tortured by this bitch and feeling bad for this guy. And I ran out of time, so part 2.
So apparently she didn't do a part 2 because he saw the video and she says she's not going to elaborate further. So, yeah. And some people in the comments was like, I don't think it was the spell. I think it was the way you looked. Here's her response.
Okay, this is the last, and I'm going to talk about this for real, guys. I swear I will have other fun story times, but I don't want to talk about this anymore. But I will address this. First of all, thank you. Like, that is so fucking nice. But I have to show you what it looks like when this was going down. Take your time to digest this. Like, this is the girl that was doing this shit. So, food for thought.
At this point, we gonna get up out of here and wrap this video up. I hope that y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching and educating with me. And, you know, don't do love spells, obsession spells. Don't do any type of spells that has to do with taking over the free will of people because it will bite you back. It will bite you back, okay? Y'all have a good night now.